The galaxy was full of secrets, but some places were better left untouched. Every star chart marked Class-15 death worlds with a warning sign, planets so hostile that no known species could survive more than a few minutes on their surface. Storms of acid rain, beasts larger than starships, and radiation strong enough to tear flesh from bone made those worlds forbidden. And yet, that was where the alien survey fleet had come. Captain Veyron stood at the edge of his command deck, his eyes locked on the image before him. Floating in orbit around the death world was a massive ship, larger than any cruiser in their fleet. Its hull was blackened with scars, like it had been through centuries of war. Entire sections looked torn apart and rebuilt with strange designs. Glowing lights pulsed along its spine, weak but steady, like a heartbeat. "Report," Veyron ordered, his voice low and steady. "Sir," his science officer replied, "we are detecting residual power. It's ancient, older than anything in our archives, but it's still alive." The crew shifted uneasily. A derelict ship from a Class-15 world was bad enough. The fact that it was still running made it worse. "Any signs of life?" Veyron asked. "None. At least nothing we can read." Veyron narrowed his eyes. No one dared travel near these cursed planets. No one but fools or legends. And yet here was a ship, waiting like a predator above the waters of death. "Prepare a boarding team," Veyron said finally. The order was met with silence. A few of the officers glanced nervously at each other. "Sir, with respect," one of them said, "no species has ever survived contact with a death world." "What if?" Veyron cut him off with a sharp wave of his hand. "We are not going down to the planet. We are only boarding the ship. Do you see it? That vessel could be worth more than our entire fleet. If we recover even a fraction of its technology, we could change the balance of power across the galaxy." No one argued after that. Greed always won against fear. The boarding craft detached from the fleet and drifted toward the dark hull. The closer they came, the larger the vessel grew until it blotted out the stars. Its engines were silent, but the scorch marks around them told stories of battles long forgotten. The soldiers inside tightened their grips on plasma rifles. Their armored boots clanged against the docking tunnel as they forced open an airlock. The door hissed and stale air rushed out. Inside, the corridors were lined with strange metal plating, reinforced far beyond any design the aliens knew. Symbols marked the walls, scratched into the surface with precision. The lights flickered, casting shadows that danced along the hall. One soldier muttered under his breath, "This place feels wrong." "Stay sharp," the commander growled. "Keep moving." They moved deeper, scanning the rooms. They found crates, shattered consoles, and burned-out generators. But what caught their eyes were the smaller details. In one chamber, they found sealed packets. When one was torn open, the inside revealed something shocking: food rations, still preserved, still edible. Another soldier picked up a small book. The cover was worn, but the writing was clear. It wasn't alien script, it was something else, something that didn't belong. The science officer scanned it, and the results made his blood run cold. These markings, they're human. The word hit the squad like a thunderclap. Humans were nothing in the grand scheme of the galaxy. They were newcomers, weak and fragile. Their worlds were barely defended, their fleets laughably small. Most species mocked them, as children playing at war. And yet, here in the heart of a death world, was proof that humans had been here first. "Impossible," one soldier whispered. "They shouldn't even be able to land here, let alone survive long enough to build this." The commander frowned, running his hand along the strange reinforced walls. And yet they did. They pressed forward, unease thick in the air. Every step deeper into the ship felt heavier, as though the walls themselves were watching. Then the lights flickered again. This time they didn't dim. They grew brighter. One by one, the corridors lit up ahead of them, guiding their path deeper. Inside, the squad froze. "Did someone activate the systems?" The commander barked. "No, sir," the engineer stammered. "We didn't touch anything." The ship was waking up. Doors hissed open on their own. Vents began to hum. Distant echoes of machinery stirred in the dark, and then came the sound. A heavy, rhythmic thud. Footsteps. The soldiers raised their weapons, hearts pounding. Identify. Yourselves, the commander shouted into the corridor. His voice echoed, but no answer came. The footsteps continued, closer now, steady and deliberate. From the shadows, a faint silhouette appeared. Broad shoulders, tall frame, armor unlike anything the aliens had ever seen. Blue lights shimmered across the figure's chest plate, glowing, faintly like the ship itself. The science officer whispered, almost choking on the words, "That's human." The figure stepped into the light. His helmet was scarred, his armor ancient but alive. He looked at them with cold eyes, unshaken by their weapons. And then, in a voice that carried through the silence, he spoke. "This ship is not yours. Leave now." The aliens stood frozen. Their fear of the death world was nothing compared to the fear in that moment, because they had not discovered a derelict ship. They had stepped into humanity's domain, and the humans were still here. The alien squad did not move. Their weapons trembled, aimed at the figure standing in the glowing corridor. The silence pressed in heavy, broken only by the low hum of the ship's engines, awake after centuries of sleep. The human stood tall, his armor scarred but alive, its surface pulsing with faint blue light like veins of energy. His presence alone was enough to twist fear into the hearts of the boarding team. The commander forced his voice steady. "Identify yourself. This vessel has been claimed under authority of the Zeeland League." The human's eyes narrowed behind his visor. "Claimed?" His voice was low, cold, filled with weight. "You walk into our home and speak of claims? You have no idea what you've stepped into." The words struck harder than any weapon. The soldiers exchanged nervous glances, their grips tightening, on rifles. No one expected this. They came for salvage, for treasure from a cursed ship. Instead, they had found its guardians. The human raised his hand and the walls responded. Panels opened silently, revealing reinforced plating beneath. Blue lights ran down the corridor like rivers of fire. The ship pulsed with life, as if it breathed with him. "This ship," the human said, "belongs to us. It has always belonged to us." The science officer whispered, his voice breaking. "It's impossible. Humans don't have technology like this. They don't survive on death worlds. This can't be real." The human turned his gaze on him. "And yet here we are." The aliens backed away slowly, but the commander held his ground. Greed burned hotter than fear. "We came to take what we need. If you resist, you will be destroyed. There are fleets above this world, waiting for my order." For the first time, the human smiled. It was not warm. It was the smile of a predator that had seen prey bluff. "Fleets?" he said softly. "Do you think your fleets frighten us? Look around you. You're standing in a fortress built from the bones of a death world. We do not fear fleets. We survived what they could never face." The corridor lights dimmed, then shifted. The walls began to project images, holograms of storms tearing across a blackened planet, beasts with claws the size of towers, skies filled with fire and ash. The soldiers gasped. Their eyes widened in horror as they realized what they were seeing. "This was our training ground," the human said. His voice carried like thunder in the chamber. "Where your kind saw death, we saw survival. Where others turned away, we learned. We endured. And when the world itself tried to kill us, we became stronger." The commander's voice faltered for the first time. "That world, it's a Class-15. Nothing lives there." The human stepped closer, his boots echoing against the metal floor. "Nothing but us." A loud hiss broke the silence. More doors slid open. From the darkness beyond, more figures emerged. 5, then 10, then more. Humans, armored in the same battle-worn suits, their visors glowing faintly blue. Each carried weapons forged from the death world's ruins, weapons unlike anything the aliens had ever seen. The squad's fear hardened into panic. They had come expecting dust and wreckage, not an army. "Stand down," the alien commander, barked, though his own voice trembled. The humans did not raise their weapons. They simply stood there, unshaken, silent, watching. The first human spoke again. "You don't understand what this ship is. You think it's salvage, something to strip for parts. But this vessel is alive. It answers to us because we earned it. We bled for it. You don't belong here." The commander tried to hold on to arrogance. "We could kill you now." The human tilted his head. "Try." The tension snapped like a drawn bowstring. One alien soldier fired, a bolt of plasma hissing through the air, but before it struck, a shimmering wall of blue light erupted in front of the human, absorbing the blast like water swallowing a stone. The shield rippled, then vanished. The human did not flinch. The shooter's weapon sparked, overloaded, and fell dead in his hands. Smoke curled from the barrel. "You see?" the human said quietly. "This ship does not belong to you. It will never belong to you." The squad fell back, fear taking full control. The commander's voice broke into anger. "You can't hold this forever. Once the fleets above know what's here, they'll burn this vessel and everything inside." The human's visor glowed brighter. His voice was steady, calm, terrifying. "Then they'll burn with it." For a moment, no one spoke. The words hung heavy, impossible to ignore. The science officer's voice cracked. "Commander, I think we should leave." But before the commander could reply, the ship itself spoke. A deep hum filled the air, rising into a low roar. The floor shook beneath their boots. Panels lit up along the walls, and the air shimmered with energy. The ship was awake, fully awake. "Warning," the human said softly. "This was your one chance to walk away." The commander's courage broke. He motioned to his squad. "Fall back now." The aliens scrambled, running back toward their shuttle, but even as they fled, they knew the truth. They hadn't found an abandoned relic. They hadn't uncovered forgotten ruins. They had uncovered something far worse. They had uncovered humanity, forged in the heart of death, alive and unbroken. The boarding team stumbled back through the corridors, their footsteps echoing like thunder. Panic pushed them forward, but fear held them back. Every time they turned a corner, the walls seemed to shift, glowing faintly with blue light as if the ship itself was alive and watching. The humans did not chase. They walked slowly, boots striking the floor with heavy rhythm, shadows stretching in the flickering light. Each step was a message. You are prey, and we are the hunters. The alien commander clenched his jaw. His pride screamed for control, but his instincts told him to run. Still, he forced his squad to regroup in the docking bay, weapons raised, breaths ragged. "We hold here," he barked. "If they want to fight, let them come." But the fear in his eyes betrayed him. The first human entered the bay, tall and unshaken, his armor reflecting the faint glow of the ship. More followed, silent and disciplined, forming a line behind him. Their presence filled the chamber like a storm waiting to break. The commander pointed his plasma rifle. "This vessel belongs to the Zaylan League. By law, you are trespassers. Surrender it, or we will take it by force." The human's visor tilted, and then a sound filled the air. Laughter. Cold, sharp laughter that froze the blood in every alien's veins. "You speak of law?" the human said. "You don't understand where you are. This ship isn't a relic to claim. It's a weapon, and it's alive." As if to prove his words, the ship rumbled. The walls shook. Blue lines of energy lit up across the bay. Consoles blinked awake, screens filled with unreadable codes, and the floor pulsed with power like the heartbeat of a beast. One alien soldier couldn't take it anymore. He fired. The plasma bolt screamed through the air, then curved, bending like light through water. It hit the wall and fizzled out. The humans didn't move. They didn't need to. The ship itself had protected them. The commander's voice cracked. "Open. Fire!" Dozens of rifles spat energy bolts, filling the bay with blinding flashes. The sound was deafening, a storm of fury. But the results were the same. Every shot bent away, absorbed by invisible shields or redirected harmlessly into walls. The ship was fighting for its masters. Then the humans moved. The leader raised his hand and his armor flared with energy. From hidden slots in the walls, drones emerged, sleek machines with glowing cores. They hovered, their weapons unfolding with mechanical precision. The aliens froze. "Target," the human said simply. The drones obeyed. Blue beams of light shot across the bay, striking weapons, melting rifles, tearing armor apart without touching flesh. Within seconds, the boarding team was disarmed, their weapons reduced to slag at their feet. The commander stared in disbelief. "You could have killed us." The human stepped closer, visor glowing. "If we wanted you dead, you'd already be ashes." The silence broke when the commander snapped. Pride and rage overpowered fear. He pulled a knife from his belt and charged. The human didn't even draw a weapon. He sidestepped, caught the commander's wrist, and twisted. The knife clattered to the floor. In the same motion, he pushed the alien back so hard that the commander hit the wall with a crash. The human leaned close, his voice low but sharp as a blade. "You don't understand. You think you've found a treasure. But this ship chose us. We bled for it. We earned it. And if you dare challenge that again, it won't be drones that disarm you, it will be fire." The commander's breath shook. His arrogance had crumbled. He had no answer. Suddenly, the bay doors groaned. They opened, to reveal the stars outside, and dozens of alien warships waiting in orbit. Their weapons glowed, engines burning hot. The squad gasped. Their fleet had seen the awakening and moved into attack formation. The commander's comm link crackled. "Commander Varen, respond. Do you hold the vessel?" He glanced at the humans, then at his squad. His lips trembled. We are still engaging." The human's visor glowed brighter. "No," he said. "You are finished." The ship's voice joined him, deep and ancient, echoing across every system. Intruders detected, defensive mode active. From beneath the hull, weapons unfolded. Massive cannons, launchers, and rail systems older and stronger than anything in the galaxy. The ship's glow spread like veins of fire, its heart beating louder and louder until even the alien fleet outside could hear it. The human raised his hand. "Leave," he said, "or be destroyed." The commander's squad fell silent. The choice was clear. But above them, in orbit, the alien fleet bristled with pride. They had not come this far to flee. Engines roared, weapons locked. The commander whispered, broken, "They're going to fire." The human's smile returned, sharp and merciless. "Then watch what happens when humanity answers." The stars above the death world burned with tension. The alien fleet shifted into formation, hundreds of ships locking weapons onto the massive derelict vessel. They had come for salvage, for glory, for riches. But now their commanders demanded blood. Inside the ship's docking bay, the human warriors stood calm. Their armor pulsed faintly with the same rhythm as the ship's glowing veins. It was clear now. They were not just passengers. They were bonded to the vessel itself. The alien commander's comm link buzzed again, harsher this time. "Varen, do you have control? The League demands the ship. If you cannot secure it, we will burn it." Varen's face was pale. His squad lay broken of spirit, weapons destroyed, pride shattered. His mouth opened, but no words came. He knew the truth. Control was gone. The human leader stepped forward, visor shining with cold light. "They won't listen to you. They think they still have the power. Let me show them what real power is." The ship answered before anyone else could speak. The deck trembled. Lights across the corridor shifted to deep blue. The hum became a roar. Ancient engines, silent for centuries, growled awake. Outside, the derelict vessel moved for the first time, tilting its colossal body with terrifying grace. From the alien fleet came panicked transmissions. "It's moving." "Power readings off the charts. Brace for engagement." On the command decks of alien warships, captains barked orders. Hundreds of cannons lit the void, their targeting systems locked on the giant vessel. Fire! Beams of plasma, missiles, and kinetic rounds screamed across the darkness, converging on the Death World ship. But as the weapons struck, the impossible happened. The impacts bent away, shields of pure energy deflecting every blast. Some missiles vanished mid-flight, caught in invisible nets of gravity. The rest exploded harmlessly against glowing armor that repaired itself in seconds. The galaxy's finest fleet had just unleashed its full fury. The ship hadn't even flinched. Inside the docking bay, the human leader turned to the trembling aliens. His voice was steady, cold, merciless. "Your people think they can kill us with toys. They don't understand. They're not fighting a ship. They're fighting a survivor." As if hearing his words, the vessel roared back to life. Hidden compartments opened across its hull, revealing weapons that dwarfed anything in orbit. Cannons glowed with white-hot energy, barrels stretching like spears across the void. The first volley fired. A single beam lanced outward brighter than a sun. It cut straight through an alien cruiser, splitting it clean in half. The wreck burned silently, scattering debris like ash across the stars. The alien fleet froze. Fear rippled across every channel. "Impossible," one captain whispered. "No weapon should have that kind of output." Another screamed, "Pull back, pull back." But it was too late. The ship unleashed another volley, this time dozens of beams firing at once. Enemy vessels exploded one after another, their shields useless, their armor vaporized in seconds. The fleet that had come to claim the derelict was being erased like dust in the wind. The humans did not cheer. They did not gloat. They stood silent, as if this destruction was nothing new to them. The leader watched the battles unfold through a holographic display projected from his gauntlet. He spoke softly, almost to himself. "This is what the Death World taught us. To endure, to adapt, to survive where no one else could." The alien commander, Veyran, stared in horror. "You're monsters." The human's visor tilted toward him. "No, we're survivors. There's a difference." The alien fleet tried one last desperate tactic. Dozens of ships rushed forward in suicide runs, engines burning white as they prepared to ram the colossal vessel. The ship responded with calm precision. Panels on its hull unfolded, releasing swarms of drones, thousands of them. Each one darted into the void like a predator, intercepting the suicide ships. Explosions lit the night, tearing apart the desperate attackers before they ever reached their target. What was once a fleet became wreckage scattered across the stars. When silence finally returned to space, only a handful of alien ships remained, crippled and burning. They limped away, engines sputtering, fleeing in terror. Inside the bay, the humans turned back to their uninvited guests. "You see now," the leader said. His voice was calm, but every word was heavy. "You thought this was salvage. You thought this was treasure. But this ship is our home, our weapon, our proof that humanity doesn't just survive, we dominate." Veyran fell to his knees, the last of his pride gone. His squad followed, too broken to resist. The human stepped closer, lowering his visor so his eyes could be seen. They burned with the fire of a predator, cold and unyielding. "Tell your league," he said, "that this ship is not theirs. It never was. If they come again, we won't just destroy their fleets, we'll come for their worlds." The alien commander swallowed hard. He had no doubt the words were true. He nodded quickly, desperate to live, desperate to leave. The human leader raised his hand and the ship's systems responded. The docking bay doors groaned open, revealing the void outside. A shuttle was released, pushed gently into the black. "Go," the human said. "Carry the message. Humanity has already claimed this place." The shuttle drifted free, carrying broken survivors back toward what remained of the fleet. Behind them, the ship pulsed with blue fire, its massive guns still hot, its engines glowing brighter than ever. It was awake now, fully awake, and it belonged to humanity. The shuttle carrying the broken aliens disappeared into the void, its engines sputtering as it limped back toward the remnants of the fleet. Inside the Deathworld vessel, silence lingered, broken only by the low hum of its ancient engines. The humans stood tall in the docking bay, their armor glowing faintly with the pulse of the ship itself. They looked less like survivors, and more like guardians chosen and bound to something far greater than themselves. The alien commander Varen sat slumped on the floor, his pride stripped away. His soldiers dared not look at the humans. The leader of the humans stepped forward, visor rising to reveal his scarred face. His eyes were sharp, steady, and ancient, like someone who had carried centuries of struggle within them. He looked at Varen not with pity, but with warning. "You came here for treasure," the human said. "You found judgment instead. This ship was forged in the heart of a world where nothing should live, yet humanity thrived there. Do you understand what that means?" Varen's lips trembled. He shook his head. The human leaned closer. "It means there is no place too dangerous for us, no world too deadly, no ship too cursed. Where others see death, humanity builds a home." The ship itself seemed to echo his words. The walls pulsed with blue fire, symbols glowing brighter, engines humming louder. Across the vessel, systems reawakened, factories, armories, even hidden hangars that stretched for miles. The humans turned as massive doors rumbled open, revealing rows of dormant ships, sleek fighters, hulking carriers, and drones waiting for orders. The galaxy had believed this vessel a derelict. In truth, it was a fortress, and it was only beginning to stir. One of the younger humans spoke, his voice calm but filled with steel. "We are not alone. Thousands of us live here. Generations have been born and raised on this death world, and every one of us carries the same fire." The aliens' faces drained of color. What they thought was one miracle was instead a nightmare. An entire colony of humans, hardened by centuries of survival, armed with technology no empire could match. Varen swallowed hard. What will you do now?" The human leader straightened. His voice was steady, every word heavy with truth. "We will do what humanity has always done. Survive, expand. And when others think they can own us, rule us, mock us, we will remind them of what we are." His eyes narrowed. "Tell your league this: humanity does not kneel, not to death, not to empires, not to anyone." Outside the ship, the stars shifted as the colossal vessel turned its guns away from the ruined fleet. Instead, its engines roared, brighter than suns, as it drifted toward the death world below. The aliens gasped. "You're going back down there?" The human smiled faintly. "Of course, it is our home. The galaxy fears it, but we claimed it long ago. Every storm, every beast, every nightmare. You call it a curse. We call it training." As if to prove his words, the planet's surface came into view. Storms of lightning crackled across black oceans. Mountains moved. No, creatures, larger than cities, stalked across the land. Fire and shadow danced beneath thick clouds. It was a place no sane species would touch. And yet, as the ship descended, the humans stood calm, proud, unafraid. The ship hovered above the death world, and its leader raised his voice for the last time in the docking bay. His words were carried through comms, through the walls, through the very heartbeat of the vessel itself. "This is humanity's claim. We survived where none could. We endured what no empire dared face. And now, we rise from the world you fear most." He turned his eyes to the alien commander. "Spread the message. Tell them humanity has taken the throne of death itself. Tell them the galaxy is no longer theirs to mock or control." Varen lowered his head. He knew the League would never understand until it was too late. He also knew that once this message spread, every empire in the galaxy would tremble. The shuttle carried him away, but his mind was already broken by what he had seen. The humans left the docking bay, disappearing into the living corridors of their ship. The vessel itself descended deeper, settling like a predator returning to its den. Blue light rippled across its surface, and the planet's storms seemed to bow to its return. For a moment, the galaxy was silent, and then, across networks, across comms, across whispers in dark halls, the truth spread. The Class-15 death world was not abandoned. The cursed ship was not derelict, and humanity had already claimed them both.